Tonight, your mind is going to New York. Not the loud, hurried New York of rush hour and crowded trains, but a softer version. A quieter New York that only really appears after midnight, when the rain has thinned the streets, and the city feels like it's walking you home. You're not watching this New York in a movie. You're inside it. You can feel the weight of a borrowed umbrella in your hand, the gentle pull of your coat at your shoulders, and the cool press of the window glass against your fingertips as you look down at the wet street below. The day behind you has been long. Emails, conversations, decisions, little frictions that scraped at your attention. You've carried a lot today, more than most people know. But up here, in this small fourth-floor apartment on the edge of Greenwich Village, the day is almost over. The living room is dim, lit only by the warm glow of a lamp in the corner. The rest of the building is quieting too. You stand by the window for a moment and simply listen. Far below, you hear the soft hiss of tires on wet asphalt, the occasional distant hum of a taxi passing through the intersection, the gentle patter of rain on tree branches, shaking loose tiny beads of water that fall to the sidewalk in a second wave. New York is still awake out there, but it's moving slowly now. Wrapped in a thin, silvery blanket of rain, you take a steady breath in, imagining that you're breathing in the cool, damp air from the street. Your chest rises, your shoulders lift just a little, and as you breathe out, you imagine the long day leaving with your breath, slipping down through the soles of your feet and into the floorboards. Again, you inhale gently, feeling your ribs widen. You hold for a moment, just long enough to notice the softness of this pause. And you exhale, letting your whole body loosen as if the muscles behind your eyes, in your jaw, at the back of your neck, all remember how to rest. Tonight, you don't have to do anything clever. You don't have to solve anything or prove anything. All you have to do is walk with the rain for a little while and let the city's slower rhythm guide you towards sleep. On a small hook by the door, your coat is waiting. You pull it from its place and feel the familiar weight settle over your shoulders, the inside lining cool for a moment before it warms to your body. By the shoe rack, your most comfortable walking shoes are already turned outward, as if they knew you'd want them. And leaning in the corner is an umbrella, its curved handle resting lightly against the wall, drops from an earlier shower, already dried from its fabric. You slip into your shoes, loop the umbrella over your arm, and flick off the lamp. The apartment rests behind you in the dark, a little island of quiet you can return to later. For now, you open the door and step out into the stairwell where the muffled sounds of the city echo up from the floors below. Step by step, you descend, hand gliding along the smooth, worn banister. The air grows cooler as you near the ground floor, carrying with it the faint smell of rain and distant street food. Something warm and savory carried on the wind from a cart 2 blocks away. At the bottom, the old glass door waits. You can see droplets chasing one another down the outside of the glass. Little rivulets shimmering in the streetlight. You wrap your hand around the metal handle. Take one more slow, easy breath and push the door open into the rainy New York night. The first thing you meet is the sound. It's not loud. Not tonight. Just the detailed, textured hush of a city being washed. Rain taps steadily on the pavement, on parked cars, on the leaves of the sidewalk trees that line the block. You open the umbrella with a soft whoosh, and the raindrops begin to drum gently just above your head. The street outside your building is a narrow one, lined on both sides with brownstone facades and old brick walk-ups. Their stoops rise gracefully from the sidewalk, each with a small iron railing and a plant or two bravely reaching out into the rain. Most of the windows are lit with a soft, amber glow. Behind each pane, another quiet evening is unfolding. You see silhouettes moving slowly behind curtains. Someone carrying a mug to the sofa. Someone else folding laundry on a table. A cat curled in a perfect circle on the back of a chair. You don't know these people. But here, on this rainy night, you share the same city heartbeat. Your footsteps make a muted sound as you begin to walk, rubber soles pressing gently into the damp concrete. Puddles reflect the lights from the street lamps overhead, turning each pool of water into a small, shimmering mirror of the sky. You choose your path, almost without thinking, guided more by instinct than by any particular plan. Left at the end of the block, past a small laundromat that's still open, its windows fogged up from the warm dryers inside. Through the misted glass, you glimpse rows of machines slowly turning, someone sitting on an orange plastic chair, head tipped back as they scroll lazily through their phone, waiting for clothes to finish tumbling. The blue light of the TV above the counter flickers silently, sending faint, moving colors into the steam-filled air. Just beyond, a corner deli glows. Its awning is beaded with rain, and the sliding door is propped open a crack to let in a little fresh air. Inside, shelves stacked with everything from cereal to soup cans stretch down narrow aisles. The man behind the counter is reading a newspaper, elbows resting comfortably near the register, a small radio at his side. playing a song so soft it barely reaches the door. You breathe in the layered scent of coffee, baked bread, and a little citrus from the stack of oranges near the entrance. Even if you don't step in, it's comforting just to know that you could is less than hash too. Zero hash is greater than that there are lights on and hands ready to pass you a hot drink or a snack if you wanted one. You move on, umbrella shifting gently in your grip, and the rain stays with you. Never harsh, just steady, like 1,000 tiny fingers, tapping reassurance on the fabric above. Greenwich Village at night has a way of feeling familiar, even if you've never walked these exact streets before. The pattern of fire escapes, zigzagging down old brick facades. The glow of a neon sign advertising a late-night slice shop. A bicycle locked to a lamppost, its frame glistening with droplets. All of it combines into a kind of living postcard. Not the glossy, crowded one from daytime tourist brochures, but a quieter, more private picture that the city reserves just for you and whoever else is still awake on a rainy night like this. As you continue walking, the streets curl and turn in that familiar village way. Not perfectly straight, but gently meandering, like thoughts when they relax. You pass a record store with its lights still on, rows of vinyl glowing behind fogged up glass. In the window, a small handwritten sign reads, "Open late if it's raining." Inside, you see one person flipping slowly through album covers, their shoulders swaying slightly to music you can't quite hear through the rain. Farther along, there's a tiny café with just a handful of tables. Only one is occupied by someone wearing a wool hat, hands wrapped around a mug, staring out into the street with the kind of soft focus that suggests they're lost in thought or perhaps not thinking at all. The barista wipes down the counter in unhurried circles, glancing occasionally at the clock, but not in a way that's impatient. This is the gentle rhythm of places that stay open late. They know that sometimes what people need most is simply a warm room and the chance to sit quietly a bit longer than usual. You turn onto a narrower side street, the kind where trees spread their branches overhead and string lights loop from building to building, casting a warm, dappled glow on the wet pavement. Most of the string lights are turned off tonight. Rain and late hour conspiring to keep the alley dim. But a few remain, twinkling faintly like small, patient stars that came down to visit the city. Here, the sound of the rain changes slightly. The drops hit leaves, brick walls, and the curved metal of trash can lids, creating a soft, irregular music that echoes gently between the buildings. You pause for a moment and simply stand still on the sidewalk, listening. There's no need to rush. There's nowhere you have to be, except exactly where you are. If this walk had a purpose, it has already served it by lifting you out of the tight spiral of the day and placing you gently in this slow, wandering night. You start walking again. To your right, a townhouse window is left slightly open and soft piano music drifts out. Just a simple melody played without hurry. You imagine a person inside, sitting at the instrument, not practicing for anyone, not performing, just letting their fingers find familiar notes in the company of the rain. For a moment, you walk in time with the music. Each step falls between the notes, and the world feels very carefully arranged to carry you forward. Up ahead, a glimpse of Washington Square Park appears between the buildings. The pale shape of the arch, its details blurred by the rain. You can see the dark outline of trees. Behind it, leaves glistening under the lamps. You decide, without really deciding, to angle your walk toward the park. The sidewalks widen as you approach Washington Square, and the city opens up just enough to let your thoughts stretch a little. You cross the street carefully, watching as a yellow taxi glides quietly through the intersection, tail lights smearing red across the wet road. The park entrance feels like the threshold between one kind of night and another. Outside, the grid of the city continues, all angles and corners. Inside, paths curve beneath trees that hold beads of water on their branches, like tiny mirrors of the street lamps. You walk beneath the arch, its pale stone rising above you in quiet grandeur. Droplets fall from its edges in slow, patient drips, as if the monument itself is taking a long, cool drink from the rain. In the daytime, this park hums with life. Children at the fountain, musicians, students, tourists with cameras. Tonight, it has chosen a different mood. Only a few figures move slowly along the paths, someone walking a dog in a bright raincoat. A person with a backpack and headphones, head down, lost in their own soundtrack, is less than #2. 8 is greater than a couple sharing a single umbrella, laughing quietly at something only they can hear. You find a bench under a generous tree, its branches arching out like a protective canopy. The leaves above catch the rain and release it slowly in soft, spaced out drops that tap a gentle rhythm on your umbrella. You sit, close the umbrella halfway so you can feel a little of the cool air on your face, and let your gaze drift over the damp paths, the glistening benches, and the faint shimmer of the fountain's water in the distance. The city has not disappeared. You can still hear the low hum of traffic. Beyond the park's edges, the occasional whoosh of a bus, a distant siren, so faint and far away that it sounds like it belongs to another story altogether. But here, in the center of the park, everything feels slowed, as if time has taken a deep breath and is holding it just for you. Rain softens lines and edges. Where earlier, buildings might have seemed sharp, crowded, or imposing, now they're softened behind a veil of mist. The streetlights halo themselves in their own reflections. The city is still the city. But tonight, it's letting you see its gentlest face. You sit for as long as you like. Your thoughts wander like the paths of the park, curving gently around small ponds of memory, stepping lightly over the roots of old worries that no longer need your attention. When you finally rise from the bench, you feel somehow lighter, as if the rain has quietly rinsed away some of the residue of the day. You stand beneath the tree, open the umbrella fully again, and step back onto the path. The way back feels both familiar and just a little different. As you leave the park, the rain eases into a finer mist. The city seems to recognize that it has done enough for now. The streets on your route home are quieter than before. Some shop lights have been turned off. A few more windows have gone dark as people settle into sleep. But there are still those comforting signs of wakefulness. A lamp left on beside an open book. A TV flickering softly in a living room. A hallway light casting a golden stripe across a rug. You pass the record shop again. The sign in the window now reads closed, but the owner is still inside, stacking albums and straightening displays for tomorrow. You pass the laundromat. The person on the orange chair is gone now, their laundry presumably warm and folded, in a bag over their shoulder on its way to some nearby closet. Only a couple of machines are turning slowly, spinning someone's soft shirts and socks through their final rinse. The radio plays a song from another decade, and for a moment, the laundromat feels like a little capsule of time floating on the rainy street. You keep walking, moving at the unhurried pace of someone who knows that a bed is waiting for them. That the night belongs entirely to rest. The village streets fold softly around you. Corners you've turned before, doorways you've passed. On other nights, sometimes in company, sometimes alone. But tonight, even solitude feels like a kind of company. You have the rain, you have the city, you have the steady rhythm of your own footsteps and the quiet, loyal beat of your heart. As you near your block, you glance up and see the familiar outline of your building. Its windows glowing gently, like lanterns marking the end of a path. You cross the street carefully, sidestepping a wide puddle that reflects both the streetlight above and your own small silhouette beneath the umbrella. At the front door, you close the umbrella with a soft shake, sending droplets scattering onto the sidewalk. You slip inside and let the door fall closed with a quiet click behind you. The stairwell greets you again with its cool air and faint echo of footsteps, long since gone to bed. Step by step, you climb, feeling each movement as a gentle signal to your body that the walking part of the night is almost over. On the fourth floor, you turn toward your door, key cool and familiar in your hand. Inside, the apartment is still just as you left it. A lamp waiting to be switched back on, a book left open on the table, a blanket folded neatly at the foot of your bed. You hang the coat, set the umbrella to dry, and move through the rooms, now with the knowledge of the rain-washed streets outside, the softened park, the glowing windows, and the quiet lives you passed along the way. When at last you lie down, sheets cool and welcoming beneath you, you can still hear New York in the distance. Not clearly, just the suggestion of wheels on wet road, a horn far away, the hush of the rain tapering off on the rooftops. Your body remembers the walk, the rhythm of your steps, the feel of the pavement, the easy pace. That rhythm now transforms into the gentle rise and fall of your breathing. In and out, like a person strolling slowly down a quiet street, you move steadily toward the softer edges of awareness. Images from the walk begin to blur into one another. The warm rectangles of light behind brownstone windows, the soft glow of the park lamps on wet leaves, the curve of the umbrella above you holding back the rain so you could see the city in its gentlest mood. Soon you may find yourself walking again through these streets, but only in your dreams. Without shoes, without an umbrella, weightless, moving with the rain instead of beneath it. For now, you don't need to follow every word to the end. The story will keep walking, even as you drift behind it, slowing, softening, slipping out of the city and into sleep. New York will keep its quiet watch over the rainy streets tonight. You, for this one soft, gentle night, are finally allowed to rest.